Hello everyone and welcome to the LSI F1 World Championship. We're today for the penultimate round of the season, the Italian Grand Prix, Monza, the second Italian Grand Prix on the circuit. Of course, second to Imola earlier on in this season. Monza, of course, being probably the crown jewel, really, the Temple of Speed as it is known. It's going to be absolutely epic. Round 15 out of 16. Both championships are wrapped up. It just means all-out war for the top spots. The only Ferrari driver on the grid today is Gilly representing Italy. Of course, Bassoon is also doing so, and so is Nifajan and Zingy in the AlphaTauris. All three Italian teams loving life at this circuit. Although it is quite a difficult one, most notably the second chicane, the first corner of it, so turn 3 or 4 is that, does seem to be very, very tricky and people aren't exactly too pleased with it. That would be turn 4 and 5 chicane. Turn 4 just seems to be one that catches people out a lot with the RNG curb. You have to ride it to gain the lap time, but it's just so incredibly difficult to do. We'll see if it works out for anyone. This is going to be Gilly coming across the line as he brings it tight to the right-hand side, but he's going to go into the pit lane anyway, and that'll be that lap done. We've got JJ in the Williams on his way out to set his first lap of the session. Yes, we are starting the live stream a little bit earlier than usual because to avoid the crossover of the Miami Grand Prix for the Formula 1 World Championship. We were a little bit late, so it's not really that much time difference, but it's enough of a difference. We would have probably not crossed over anyway, but this just helps things out for sure, so we should not be seeing any problems at all with crossing over. So don't worry, you'll be able to watch the Miami Grand Prix sprint qualifying as you wish tomorrow, and or today, sorry, and tomorrow. Half an hour earlier will be the race, so you can watch the normal qualifying as well instead. JJ only one out setting a lap right now. That is Korsman on his way out of the pit lane to set his final lap of the session. 3 minutes to go. It is a 1 minute 20 second, sub 20 second lap time. So it's not a really quick lap. It's not a really short lap. You still need a little bit of time to do an out lap. You've got a lot of straights to do, a lot of brake dragging, which is good. But you do have to bring that brake bias right forward. Otherwise, you're just going to heat up those rear tyres. There's not really any corners to really warm up those front tyres, which is something that you really struggle at Monza. The front tyres can get very cold, whereas the rears can get very hot. The heavy traction zones, but no sweeping corners. In real life, of course, according to normal cars, that sweeping corner right there that JJ just gone through is probably quite a lot, but to an F1 car, it is basically nothing. This is the apex a little bit and compromises his run into the second one, but still gets through it nice and cleanly, and he'll come around the final corner, and we will go on board with Korsman to see if he can compete for pole position, where Zingy and Charlie are split by 0.001 seconds. JJ comes across the line. What's it going to be for the man in the Williams team? A 20.2. He's going to have to try and find a little bit more if he wants to improve on this one. We will go on board with Korsman now, who is still warming up those tyres. As you can see, brake dragging nice and hard. He was very close to JJ early when JJ started his lap. This is how far away he actually is. It's something that you really have to work on throughout the outlap. And now you put the power down and Korsman begins the lap. DRS will be available after you cross the line, which can be a little bit tricky in time trial. It's very hard to get used to. There it is, down the straight, braking as hard as you possibly can. And you're looking to try and open up the second corner to really get the car straight and get that traction down. They do miss the inside a little bit, but they still keep the traction at least. But they would have wanted to ride those curves very slightly. You can get some good rotation with the brake bars if you use it correctly as well. Hold it to the right hand side nice and tight. Third corner, it's pretty much flat out in the second chicane. Let's see if he goes to try and ride it. He doesn't opt to ride it this time. And then you go to third, fourth gear, try and keep the revs up. Minimum speed through the Ismos is absolutely critical. Does that quite nicely. Into the second one, down to fifth gear, riding the inside all the way to the outside line without mounting the middle of the car, otherwise you might end up bottoming out if you've not got the right setup on. They do it quite nicely as well. That is a slight improvement on their lap time. It would be enough to compete for pole position. They're going to have to find a little bit more in Ascari, which they definitely can do. It looked very nice and tidy right there. One more corner to go for Korsman. What's it going to be? Don't make any mistakes. Bring it to the right-hand side on the exit to minimise track distance. A bit of a slide as they went through the corner, but it still looked quite quick. Hold it to the right. What's it going to be for the Alpine driver? It's going to be provisional pole. And he found a massive amount of time in Ascari. Absolutely incredible. Charlie's going to have to try and compete. He'll be up next. JJ has finished qualifying. He will not be able to improve. Then we've got Tom Brainer after this. Charlie makes a mistake. I think that's going to be it. He backs off. He backs off. That is going to be it all over. We've got Pursoon right here. We've got Zingy as well on his way. It's going to be Tom Brainer who comes across the line next to see what he can do. Pursoon, he's got one more corner to go as well. Tom Brainer running up. No DRS when you get to the line. What's it going to be for the Haas driver? It's going to be P5. Pursoon across the line. What's it going to be? It's going to be P3. And exactly the same lap time as Charlie. Absolutely incredible. It doesn't move on. Zingy's invalidated. He will not go any further. And he's beaten by the smallest of margins. Absolutely incredible. We're going to have the Red Bull of Robbo coming around in a minute, and the Bill, of course, will follow on, as well as that will be Peanuts. No, it won't be. It'll be Eager Pro. We've got Nabil round the final corner. What's it going to be for the McLaren driver today? Grid position-wise, it's going to be a lovely P5 in the end, and Eager Pro is going to go into the pit lane. He will not be improving. That is Korsman on pole position for the Italian Grand Prix by a fair bit of a margin. But then if you look at P2 to P4, that is absolutely minuscule. Same lap time for P2 and 3 and only 0.001 seconds away for P4. That is absolutely mental that little margin is splitting Zingy from P2, front row, and P4 on the grid. Very well done indeed. That is qualifying done, and we will move on to the race shortly. It's going to be a spectacle to see. Slipstream will be absolutely crucial. Strategy will definitely be key. People are going to be trying to lose each other in the pit lane. We'll have to see how that one goes. Alrighty. That is Ty Korsman on pole position, Charlie in P2 and then Pursoon in P3. That gap is absolutely mental. We go through the race director and we will see you in a little bit for the race. Ready, hold, go! Who's going to get it into turn one? We fly into the first corner. Who will be ahead? That is Taz Korsman getting a perfect start, but the toe is long. Zingy's going to try and challenge as well. He's not going to allow Charlie to get through. It's going to be 3 wide. There will be contact. Charlie gets through just about. It looks like the Haas goes off. I do not believe it. There are cars everywhere. Zingy just about into in P2. That's Passoon in P3. Very lucky to be alive as Charlie. He's going to be furious with that start. And he was sandwiched. No one showed any mercy further down the order. Oh no, that's big contact. That is big contact. Both Aston Martins are affected, as that was Peanuts and the Bill go side by side, and in the end Eager Pro has got damage from that. I do not believe it. How has that happened? Out of everything that could have happened, Eagle got damage from a crash that he wasn't even involved in. That is such a shame. We've got Nifojan, who's got a car behind. He's got 2 cars behind trying to follow each other. He might get a double overtake here if he's plays it right, but JJ backs off, and that is going to be Nifojan just having to hold on. There was a big gap between these guys and the rest of the field, though, after that start, with that crash, of course, that split the field so much. Igor and the Bill will have to make an early pit stop, very likely. That is going to be JJ holding it to the inside of Gilly, around the outside of Parabolica. He's trying to keep it. It's going to be Becken following right behind. You can just see it happening, but it's a drag race into the first corner. But switching up for the race lead, it's going to be Zingy challenging to get to P1 ahead of Korsman at the earliest opportunity. He's going to get the move done. He is going to get the move done already. Passoon will not be able to follow on, and the top 5 carry on as they are. Robbo has a train behind him. Nifojan looking so close, but no position to make that move. Not worth the risk at that stage. Goes slightly defensive, does Robbo, but it would be stupid to hold that inside line. There's no question about it. Lap 2 out of 27. Who is going to go for a move on the inside at that corner? I do not know. A hell of a start from everyone. It is quite spectacular that that gap has been pulled, though, from everyone, of course. That is Igor not going into the pit lane. He's trying to hold on a little bit longer, maybe hoping for a safety car, or I don't know. That's an interesting one. He's not on the medium tyre, so he won't be able to go to the end on the mediums because he'll have to make a pit stop either way mandatory. But yeah, that's a strange one. We go to lap 3 of the Italian Grand Prix, and DRS will be available on this lap. Not this straight, but this lap. And that is going to be Korsman making it the outside line, but he's not going to really get close enough to make the move solidly, but he does just about. Passoon's going to have to try and judge that as he reacts to the cars ahead working together, which can be quite difficult. Charlie struggling to keep with these guys, 8 tenths behind. Everyone in front of him are in a bit of a train, so they kind of cancel each other out. He's then got pressure from the medium tyre runner of Tom Brainer, and then we've got the split with Robbo, 2.7 seconds behind. He is catching up the guys ahead with that softer tyre. Might be able to drag everyone back into the train as they should have been earlier on before that little incident that we had. That's Nifojan P7 and Gilly on that soft tyre. He needs to try and make this work at the earliest point, but it's not that easy. He's still got both Williams drivers behind him. It's just how long will he be able to hold them off, though? Straight line, of course, traction zones are crucial, so softer tyres or better conditioned tyres are absolutely necessary, but at the same time, sometimes it can be a little bit difficult because if you're going down the straight, well, your speed isn't really going to be affected by tyre wear as much because you are driving in a straight line. And we'll see how that plays out later if people try and extend their tyres for longer and longer and longer or not. Or will they try and go for an undercut? The thing is, slipstream and track position is absolutely crucial around this circuit. Tyre life kind of goes out the window almost. Zingy looking to the outside line but lifting off the throttle and allowing Korsman to take it, but he took an awkward line there. Still stays in front. Zingy's not willing willing to pressurize him at the moment. He is controlling himself, and Tyus Korsman controls the race. That is Pursoon sitting in P3. He can't do anything about it. He wants to try and make a move on Zingy and get into P2 of that train, but he is literally waiting for Zingy to do something. Maybe he can go for a double overtake, but only really he wants to overtake one car in this race right now. Robbo's still doing a very good job to catch up and bring that train with him at the moment. That is Nifojan sending it through the first most right behind, following closely, putting that pressure on, keeping the pressure on, allowing Robbo to kind of do his thing, but also keeping him nice and honest so he doesn't drop off and relax. He doesn't want to be defending, he wants to be pushing with these tyres, and that's exactly what he's letting him do at this stage of the race. So working very, very well together. 2.8 seconds, 2.7 seconds, and almost to the 0.6s in the corners. He definitely will have the advantage, but as these guys are all in a train on the straight, it is going to be incredibly tough for him to figure out. We'll see how it goes though. We go yet again for another lap. This time we get a big bit of DRS from Zingy. He's nice and close. He's going to slingshot himself into the first place position. I'm all over the place, and that is P1. Lovely stuff. Tyus Korsman lets it go. Pursoon doesn't get an iron. He doesn't have the opportunity to get involved there. That is going to be Nifojan with a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting, not track limits. So that's an interesting one. Very interesting to get a track limit penalty rather than, very interesting to get a corner cutting time penalty rather than a track limit one. These guys are at the mercy of at what Nifo's just done there, so he's just going to have to sit behind at the moment. Getting that penalty probably caused him a little bit of instability after that. Don't quite know what happened. Robbo's going to immediately take that position back and be ahead for Ascari, and I think Nifo's just going to let that happen. And yeah, very interesting stuff going on right there, but these guys maintain their train, and they've just got a little bit of work to do to try and catch back up. That is Korsman and Zingy up in the distance. Very, very close together though. These guys are all in their trains, and then of course you've got Eagle and Nabil at the back of the pack, who are kind of racing their own race at the moment. The bit has just caught back up to Igor. We'll see how that goes. That is going to be Becken. That is going to be Gilly down the order, sorry. Becken might have a look here on Peanuts. I think Peanuts just made that move potentially. So will there be a move? That is going to be Korsman into the lead of the Grand Prix. No, it's going to be Zingy. They're still fighting out side by side. It's going to be surely Pursoon trying to get involved, but no. He once again backs off and doesn't let it bother him. I'm very, very confused at how this is going. Tom Brainerd just watching this from a distance. Charlie getting a little bit restless as they really want to try and figure their race out as soon as they possibly can. That is going to be Gilly making that pit stop with a new front wing necessary, as they have had an issue. So not entirely sure what happened there with Gilly, but they've got that front wing change, and now they're onto a medium tyre. Not a hard tyre, so they've gone for a soft medium it looks like, unless they can go all the way to the end on less medium tyre. Maybe they're hoping for a safety car. Nabil not quite in DRS of Igor. Igor doing a phenomenal job despite having damage. Got to be careful with his track limits though, otherwise he could get himself in trouble. The two trains, of course, still on their way. That is a 3.7 second gap now though. They have lost a bit of momentum to the front runners, who are absolutely on a roll. Perfect stuff from these guys. Zingy, of course, leading, trying to get his second ever win at Monza. Always had a really hard time around this circuit. Won last season and now running up front for the next race in a row. Can he get the job done? Korsman always very quick. Pursoon trying so hard to get another race win recently, just not quite got there, so he's really trying to look for that. Charlie's looking for his first win ever regardless. So is Tom Brainerd. Tom Brainerd's made a massive improvement this season of pace and keeping up with these guys at the moment. Of course, he's got a little bit of a different strategy, but he seems to have confidence in it, as he says often. So if this one can work out for him, I hope he can get a very good result. We've got Robbo sitting right behind. He's still got that pressure on. He's kind of maintaining the gap at the moment. Oh, no, he's not. He's not maintaining the gap at all. It's going to be all over. That's going to be a safety car. And that is going to be a very, very, very early pit stop. Tom Brainer will be very happy of this one for his tyre situation. So will Peanuts. But everyone on the hard tyre have a very difficult choice to make. That is such a shame to see Robert out of the Grand Prix right there on that corner, but so easily done. If that's a corner that or if there is a corner that you're going to DNF on, that is the corner to do it. What a shame for him. Everyone's going to dive into the pit lane except from Charlie, who's going to stay out. That's an interesting call. They're trying to take it a little bit different. That is going to be even Nifojan going into the pit lane as well. They're all very, very close to one another, side by side. It looks like they all wanted to try and go for an overtake. They've all managed to avoid any severe issues. We go on board with Nifojan as he might be held up here. He's actually been held up slightly by another car being released. Not so much by the other guys. That is going to be a big problem there for both of the... Oh no, both of the Williams. And I do not believe what I'm seeing, but Peanuts has got the wet tyres on. The wet tyres. That was not intentional. That means they're probably, I assume, going to be going on to a set of hards anyway. But they're going to have to make a second pit stop and lose all that track position that they had before. So, yeah, a shame. They would have been, I think, in P7 anyway. Now they're just going to be a bit further back, and that is a terrible shame. It is going to be Nabil and Igor back in this battle with front wings as well, and JJ loses that position out to Igor and Nabil, so that hold up in the pit lane was quite crucial. It's going to be Gilly onto the hard tyres to go to the end of the Grand Prix. That is an interesting one, as he's got a great opportunity to do so. So fair enough to Gilly. It's now working and he's back in this race. Just needs to catch up to the safety car and he'll be good to go. Alrighty, that's Peanuts in the pit lane. No question about it. Gets that fresh tyre on. What's it going to be? Mediums or hards? It's the mediums. So maybe that was an intentional tyre choice that he's gone onto that tyre. And he wants to try and go to a fresh set of mediums to the end. It's an interesting choice. It's not impossible looking at the rest of the race now, because... Right, they've completed 10 laps, so... Or 9 laps, sorry, I should say. They are going to have just under 20 laps to go. So it can actually make it to the end, and Peanuts has got a much better chance of doing so, of course. That's going to be an interesting situation that Nifo's just had under safety car. He goes off the circuit, and he will lose those positions and not be able to regain them. I don't know what happened, but an issue under the safety car. He was behind, I wanted to say behind Tom Brainer, but Beckens managed to get in front of the Haas drivers, so there must have been an issue with both of those guys. Tom now in a bit of a situation himself, which is an interesting one for sure. But looks like he doesn't have any damage, and neither does Beckens. So a weird shake-up that's just happened, and that is going to be Nifojan once again off the circuit. And he lets Peanuts go in front. So has Nifojan got some damage at this point? It looks like he maybe has, but I don't know what that's quite come from right there. Anyway, Gilly still on his way, so we'll continue for one more lap. And we'll see what's happening, whether Nifo goes into the pit lane or not. Charlie continues to lead the Grand Prix. Would he go for a set of medium tyres late on to make that call? I don't quite know. It's going to be a couple people into the pit lane, actually. It's going to be JJ, Peanuts, and Nifo. All into the pit lane this late on. Peanuts yet again going on to a set of fresh tyres, which is a very interesting call. He goes onto a fresh set of hards. That's going to be JJ onto a fresh set of hards. And it's going to be Nifojan on a fresh set of mediums. At this stage of the race, Nifojan going to a fresh set of mediums. That is the call, I believe. That is the call. I just want to quickly double check something, though. We look at Peanut's race. Okay, he started on the mediums. And he could have gone straight to the hards. He went, of course, onto the wets maybe by accident, and then went back onto the mediums for some reason, and then decided to go to the hards. So I'm not entirely sure what that choice was there. I just wanted to double check that I didn't get that wrong, and I didn't. I just don't quite know why they've made 2 pit stops right there. Maybe they had damage that they needed to repair, and we didn't get quite to see that, but I don't think they did repair any damage, so it was a strange one. And now Gilly will come away with P9 from out of all of that. So he has managed to nice that quite well. It's absolutely incredible. We're going to probably get a call into the pit lane for the safety car, and we'll be going green flag racing once again at the end of this lap. Lap 11 out of 27. We will once again go full throttle. It's going to be Charlie that leads the way. It's going to be Zingy sitting in P2. Hard tyres against medium tyres. Charlie trying to make something work here, which is a very interesting strategy for sure, of course. The other guys have got the, not safer strategy necessarily, but the more standard strategy, considering the situation. Let's see, when will he go for it? The safety car comes in the pit lane about now. He can go for it at any point. Zingy's going to be reacting, and that's going to be Charlie going for it already. Perfect stuff. Zingy reacts very, very nicely. Goes off the circuit, does Charlie. Zingy's going to have to wait for the line. He's going to be compromised. It's going to be Korsman trying to challenge, and they're going to make contact. I do not believe it. I do not believe it. Zingy went defensive at the last minute, and that was never going to work. Korsman is affected with no front wing. I went absolutely mental. Beckon's going to be making that move at the earliest possible for his sake, but that is crucial, and Passoon is now going to be leading the Italian Grand Prix when Charlie makes his pit stop. That's not going to be a safety car because it was just on a safety car restart. I do not believe what I have just seen. Absolute scenes right here in Monza. Charlie defending from Passoon, who wants to try and get in front immediately. He's got that hard tyre in front of him that isn't going to be quicker, and then he's got a damaged car right behind him. Becken trying to get through, but he can't quite get there in a straight line. The Alpine's still fairly quick, trying to find a way through. On the exit, he'll get the run, and he's still going to be in the train, so Passoon not making that move has allowed Becken to still maintain that position, but the others, they're not going to be so fortunate. They're going to be stuck behind that Alpine, and they will have to try and find a different way to go for the move. They can't go to the right hand side because Korsman will go into the pit lane. Why is he staying out? That's very dangerous that he's staying out. I don't know why he's doing that. A little bit childish, but he continues. And he goes defensive with no front wing. So I'm not entirely sure what's happening there, but he's not going to be in any position to fight in the corners anyway, and he'll get double overtaken right there. And hopefully they can do it safely without making contact as they just make contact. I am sorry for what we're seeing right now. It's very confusing racing, but Passoon in the meantime leads the Grand Prix, and we've got Charlie sitting behind, and he's lost that position, of course, but if he can just try and hold on to DRS, maybe his strategy can work. But that medium tyre is absolutely unbelievable. Becken's going to want to try and get through as soon as possible, but that looks like Passoon could be checking out to look at his win this season if he can. Another win. Finally, after trying so hard in recent races, Tom Brainer on that medium tyre looking for a very weird strategy, trying to make that one work. That is Charlie all over the place on the road. It's going to be Becken making that move. He knows that the DRS won't kick in just yet, so it is a very smart move to make that overtake immediately as soon as he possibly can. And Tom Brainer will get it on the exit with the tyres, and he's just going to try and tuck in the slipstream of Becken if he can. No battery here for the Polish driver. They just have to wait, which is not exactly ideal. But it's how it goes. It's going to be a big old battle up behind, as that's going to be Nabil taking it to the curb to try and avoid a collision with Igor, as they're both very aggressive over that first curb on the medium tyres. They've got Gilly right behind, who's trying to stay alive on that medium tyre. He's going to be eaten alive if he's not careful. That being said, he's only got one medium tyre behind him, and that's going to be Nifojan, who's got the best tyres in the grid at the moment, and he's going to be cooked. Is he? He's not. Gilly holds on just about. That's incredible scenes that I've just seen there. Gilly making a big mistake, but Nifojan not quite being able to capitalise on that. We've got Peanuts right behind, seeing what they can do. JJ, of course, right there as well, and that is a P10 situation for him, but the two cars behind are 30 seconds plus away at the moment. Zingy on that medium tyre, and Korsman goes back to the hard tyre, interestingly, to finish this race. Pursuit leads the way by 1.5 seconds now. Becken holding that P2 of Tom Brainer for company right behind, and there's a bit of a gap with Charlie, having, of course, their hard tyres on at the moment. When will they go into the pit lane? That is the question. We don't quite know. That is going to be Pursuit going for the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Is it going to be Tom Brainer going for P2 of the race? It will be. Very interestingly done. He makes the move, nice and fairly. But it's not going to catch up to Pursuit if they make the overtake in that way. They've got to try and make it on the straight. Didn't quite get it done, but they continue to go for it, and they're hoping that that soft tyre can work in the corners, which it might well do so. So I think that's actually a very valid option there for them. That's going to be Igor to the inside line, and he's going to try and make it work. Charlie looking like they might have even tried to stick their nose in, which definitely bit them. And unfortunately, they lose a position to Nabil. So backing out earlier maybe would have been the wiser choice. Didn't work out. Igor had the line. He had to compromise it, and that is going to be now maybe another position lost here with Gilly getting that DRS. Even though Charlie has the DRS at the moment, he is just going to be absolutely obliterating him. Of course, no energy for that Mercedes driver, and that is going to be off goes Nifojan as he misjudges the speed of that hard tyre runner. That old hard tyre is absolutely killer at the moment, and we've got Peanuts looking to the outside, now to the inside line, but they still back off, and now Nifo's going to try and make that move if he can on the Mercedes, who has not yet pitted. To the outside line he will go. Very straightforward move, and Gillia's up in front right now. That might be Peanuts if he can get the job done, but no, he's a little bit too far back, so he is actually going to have to wait behind these guys at the moment. That is going to be Nabil, though, and Igor fighting again in the first chicane. A little bit of contact as they go through. They're still side by side on exit. Hopefully their front wings are intact. They try and get side by side as they go to the second chicane. Are they really going to try and make it work into the second chicane? They are not. He's going to brake early. Very, very wise thing to do, and they will live to fight another day. Try and work together. Hold this P4 maybe. We've got a couple trains forming again. Pursuit is the one-man train at the moment. Becken sitting in P2 with Tom Brainer right behind. They are on very, very different strategies, but they are still kind of working together at the moment. Nabil, P4 at the moment. They've got Igor going to the inside at Ascari. He's going to secure that move. Thank you very much. Leaves minimal room to try and make it as close as possible, and forcing the Italian driver at his home Grand Prix to give that one up. And they will be able to re-overtake him, of course, as they go down the main straight. But yeah, that was an aggressive move from the former champion, the champion from the F1 2019 game in Season 2. He's got some experience, he's got some accolades. We're going to get ERS usage here from Nabil, and he is going to go for the move. The inside line will be his choice, and Igor is just going to let this one go now, and it's going to be Nabil making a big, big mistake. Igor's just going to try and get back in it if he can, but he kind of just had to try and take avoiding action almost. Very well done to Nabil to keep that in a straight line, but also very well done for Igor to be able to react to that and not crash. He now has the inside line. He's a bit further ahead, but Nabil still tries to keep it together, and they're going to cause a lot of drama behind. That's going to be Nifojan trying to make the move on Gilly, and Gilly's just going to... Is he going to back out? He tries to stick his nose in. It's going to slow both cars down, and Peanuts is going to get through. JJ's right behind as well. Everything switching up with these guys. That's absolutely incredible. What I have just seen is nuts. Everyone switching in every possible way. Peanuts trying to make that move after the scuffles ahead are happening. Nabil and Igor fighting so hard it shuffles the rest of the grid behind him. Both locking up as they try to send it into the second chicane. You can see the clouds are coming out. We might get a bit of a situation with the weather. We're not entirely sure. We've got 11 laps remaining of the Grand Prix at this stage. There is still a long way to go. That's going to be Igor making the move a lot earlier this time. A lot earlier this time. Peanuts is right behind, but he does have DRS just about with these guys. It's going to be JJ looking for the move, but it's going to be a big mistake there for Gilly, who will miss his braking point, but he's got the runoff, and he luckily didn't hit anyone there. Very well avoided. He does return to the track without getting a penalty, but he is now down the order very far. And yeah, that is a lot of issues that he's got there with that car. Neferjan right behind Charlie at the moment, trying to get back in that train if he can do. Gilly, I don't know if he'll be able to get back into that train. He has got some pretty good hard tyres on him, but compared to Peanuts and JJ, of course, that's going to be very tricky for them to deal with. In the meantime, 5-second gap that Pasuna's managed to break away from the cars behind. He has nothing to worry about. All he's got to do right now is pray that there is no safety car in this Grand Prix. And if he does that, then he will be winning the Italian Grand Prix this season. Would be absolutely incredible for Alfa Romeo as well. Alfa Romeo, believe it or not, being a very successful superpower in the early years of LSI, not quite able to get too much success later on, but they are winning races with this man right here. Second in P3, or P2 with Tom Brain in P3, I should say, as they stay where they are. Nabil and Igor, though, right behind. They're not catching up the guys in front because they are battling hard. They continue, and it's going to be Peanuts who's now, with that tyre, it will start to get a little bit better later on in the Grand Prix, so he is going to be in full force, probably attacking quite nicely later on. I don't know whether he'll be able to catch up to soon, but he might be able to catch up to Beckham with this strategy as long as he plays it well. Now, these guys are fighting super hard. It's not easy for them to deal with, of course, and these guys fight from crashing earlier on. Very unfortunate to do so, and being really far back, and now P4 and 5 continuing their fight. It's absolutely incredible to see. Very good battling. Although it's very over the limit, they're still facing the right way just about, although it looked like there was a couple of them going sideways. They just keep it together. That's JJ losing out to the cars ahead. So that is a train kind of split off on its own now. It's going to be JJ Niffer and Gilly on their own. It's going to be Charlie who is right behind Zingy. So their strategy didn't quite work out as they were hoping to. But I guess for their sake, they're hoping that these softer tyres and fresher tyres, I should say, do work out nicely. That's going to be Tom Brainer into the pit lane already. Similar lap here to Charlie. Tom Brainer, is he going to put a fresh set of soft tyres on though to go to the end? So he's really trying to hope to make those overtakes. Charlie, on the other hand, they're trying to still make it to the end, but hope that the mediums do work a little bit better in lap time and can catch up in the corners. But regarding the other guys who are going to be rapid in the straight line, of course, with slipstream trains that they had before, not maybe so much now. Nabil, Peanuts and Igor, of course, do have that. But yeah, I don't know if you'll be able to catch up the gap that they need to catch up to be able to get to the front runners. That being said, they're not as far away as we thought. Of course, the pit stops will come into play, but 10 seconds behind still, or 5 seconds behind, I should say, and then 10 seconds behind is Tom Brainer. It's not exactly easy. That's going to be a move done there for Peanuts as he makes that move on the McLaren driver, and Igor is going to be happy to see a fellow Aston right behind him, but Peanuts isn't going to give it up too much. You can see spotting the positions, getting ready to go. I am looking for the gap to the race leader. That is still a 30-second gap to Pursuit at the moment at the stage of the Grand Prix. It's going to be Peanuts looking for the move, surely, as he goes to the inside line. Wants to get that move done on his teammate. and it should be pretty straightforward. It's not going to be so straightforward, as there's going to be a bit of contact. Igor's maybe hoping for a bit of space on the inside. Peanuts was hoping to try and make it work. He goes to the grass. It's not going to help his run, but it doesn't matter. He's still got a very, very good run. He's boxed in by the Aston Martins. He can't force him way. He can't force his way to the outside line because he's got a car there. Very, very cheeky there from Nabil. Got to be super careful that he didn't take out Igor. Igor's just about in a straight line, but he definitely had to back out of that one. So Nabil's very lucky to still be in this race. That could have been a very big crash side by side. Always have to make sure you hold your line no matter what. Igor's going to immediately give him payback, as he's going to take that position and sit behind his teammate. So he doesn't want to lose it. He's made that move. Not got a great exit, so Nabil might try and have a go, but he's going to have to save a bit of energy at some point and maybe wait. We'll let that happen for now, and that'll be all good. I have to say, Pursoon and Becken, the gap has been closing a little bit. It was 5 seconds earlier on. Now it's not so much. Of course, Pursoon has got a lot of energy to use, so they are definitely relaxing. But yeah, the gap has changed quite drastically. Becken is catching up quite nicely. That's going to be Igor making the move, and Peanuts and Nabil now are switching up instead. 2 Astons versus 1 McLaren, as it was before. Just 1 Aston and 1 McLaren. These guys are all in their battles. ERS is absolutely a minimum. They're pushing each other to the limit. The McLaren will sit himself in the middle of the sandwich. Igor now leading the pack, as he was earlier on, of course. Peanuts finds himself yet again in P5 from leading just a few moments ago. It's all switching up. Very difficult to race at this circuit with a train of 3 cars. You never know who is going to come out in front at the end of the straight. JJ watching behind, hoping that he can get into DRS range, but just struggling quite to get there. Not so easy. That is going to be Nifojan, 4 seconds. Then Gilly right behind him, of course, in P8. Tom Brainer catching up to the cars ahead with that softer tyre, so we'll see how that one goes a little bit later. Of course, it's going to be an interesting one. Does have themselves a time penalty, unfortunately, though, so not exactly too good. Charlie has broken away quite nicely there for Zingy. So Zingy, 3 seconds away now, making some maybe more mistakes. I'm not entirely sure, but those tyres are a lot different. I just thought maybe that DRS would help a bit as he goes to the inside line again. Does the McLaren driver? He's going to lose the car a little bit under braking. Igor's not going to be too happy with that one. On the exit, they're still side by side. Peanuts is just watching behind. He can't quite find a way through yet. Will Igor try and get a second opportunity as they go into the second chicane? He goes to the outside line, and Bill goes slightly defensive, but they will just have to maintain position for now. It looked like Nabil lost his car as he went onto the entry of that corner, but maybe I was wrong. It didn't look like it was too scuffed, but it was a big send, and he made it work. So well done there, Nabil, losing the car in the rear, doing everything he can to get a podium here at his home Grand Prix. That would be absolutely phenomenal if he could do so. What a story that would be. Now, he did get himself a time penalty just as we speak. Unfortunately, it's not going to be so straightforward, but it is a tricky circuit, and we've got a couple more laps to go. We might see a few other people have a penalty, of course, if they're not careful, but Nabil did a phenomenal job. This is exactly what he needs to be doing to roar on the crowd at this Grand Prix. Igor, P4 to P3. Peanuts not in a position to make a move. Spots his braking point. And that was a bit more of a civilized overtake. One of the most civilized overtake that we've seen from these guys. It's, of course, it's great to see them battle, but now they're getting to the end of the Grand Prix. They're just spending maybe a couple of laps just saving a little bit, relaxing, ready for those final couple that they will end up really having a big old battle with. That is Nabil trying to get the exit on Igor, and he will have a look to the inside. So I was completely wrong of what I was just saying. I thought they'd maybe try and relax, but no, they're still battling. It's going to be a long old battle. It's going to be a good one though, I'm sure. Pursoon leads the way. We do have to quickly mention his name a couple times this race, otherwise we'll never see him. That's going to be Nabil making the move. No, he backs off as he was so close to the back of the Aston Martin driver. Peanuts, he's got that tyre. It should kick in the later stages and the last couple of laps of this Grand Prix. But with DRS and ERS being a factor, and straight line, of course, of slipstream, it's just absolutely impossible to fight against despite the tyre advantage. It might be available. It might be an advantage, but really it's just all who plays it the best when we get to those final stages of the Grand Prix, and he's going to bunt draft him. He doesn't want to make the move. He doesn't want to make the move this time. He's going to watch behind. He's just going to let Igor be. He just wants to sit in that P2's position. That's a very, very interesting strategy there. Igor wasn't sure what Nabil was trying to do, so he didn't actually take the racing line. He kind of held it to the inside, but Nabil doesn't want to make the move. This is very, very smart from Nabil. You can't really brake for DRS unless you're alongside, so instead, if you just wait behind, then you can actually end up just getting DRS in the final lap anyway. He is using his brain here, and it's going to work very well if he can make this successful, but he does have a car to think about behind, so it's going to be very hard to manage. Giving the car ahead a bump draft down the straight, not through the corners, but down the straight. It will risk your front wing a little bit, but if you do it right, you'll be fine, and you will gain the car ahead a bit of a boost. And overall, the train will have a nice little boost as well. That was Peanuts very close to the inside of Nabil right there, but they just managed to keep it together. These guys running in a good position. It's going to be Gilly and, Nifojan and Tom Brainer very close to one another as Tom has made that move on that soft tyre, trying to maybe look at getting to JJ, but with the time penalty situation that these guys have got, it's not going to be so straightforward. Once again, Nabil just holding on, using the energy though, which is a little bit confusing. This time he goes to the outside line as Peanuts was also looking there. They just about hold him off, does Igor. That was very, very tight. Peanuts very well reacted right there. He's sitting behind, saving energy. He wants to try and get in front here. He wants to try and get in front of Nabil. He's using the energy that he's saved over these few laps, and he's now going to sit in P2 of this train. That is very, very, very well thought out there from the Swedish driver. Absolutely perfect. Igor's trying to hold on. He's not got too much to play with. He's got, actually, I say that, a fair bit to play with. It's still going to be very difficult to fight for, though, as Peanuts will have that grip now, and he's got one car in front instead of two, so the slipstream train is all of a sudden not so much of a problem. Nabil's going to be very quick regardless, and he's going to be right there, so Peanuts can't afford to make any mistakes, but it's definitely a lot easier to try and get that move done. We're going to get to the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. We've still got two more to go when they cross the line here. Pursuit crosses the line now to start that one. These guys will do it very shortly after. Absolutely incredible to see from these guys. And here you go. To the inside line is going to be Peanuts. They're just going to try and make it work between the two Aston Martin drivers, it looks like, as they have a bit of a drag race down the straight. Is he going to move to the racing line? He will do so. And Igor is just going to wait behind, and Nabil is in no position to make that move. Not only has he got a time penalty, of course, but he just wasn't close enough. No question. It's going to be Nifojan making that move on Tom Brainer right here, as they're in a bit of a train at the moment. That soft tyre on the exit is okay, but not good enough, as he lost the traction on the exit, being a bit too aggressive, and unfortunately he's just going to have to sit behind that old medium tyre runner. Trap position, is it crucial between these guys? It's not exactly mega crucial, but with the time penalty situation, Niffer's just hoping that Tom Brainer gets himself a time penalty. I do not know what's going to happen here, but Tom Brainer makes that move just about, and Niffer, making another mistake, of course, will now actually get himself DRS. So that was probably very nice for him to actually have instead. We've got Charlie very close to the back of Gilly, so they're hoping to make a move if they can do so. That would be absolutely awesome. Pursuit is now going to start the last lap of the Italian Grand Prix, and Becken will pursue. But this is the battle that we've been watching. Peanuts has created a bit of a gap. Eagle will still be right there. Peanuts just tried to give it all he possibly could. ERS has been used by these guys. He's going to get a massive tow down the straight. He's going to be catching absolutely astronomically, but it's not going to be enough to give him a position here into the first corner. He'll get another DRS straight, which might be enough. He's used a lot of energy. Both cars have used a lot of energy. Nabil is out of the fight. They've managed to break away from the McLaren behind. We've got Nifojan, who will not make that move. We've got Charlie, who will make that move ahead of Gilly on that hard tyre. The hard tyre for Gilly didn't work out in the end. What a shame to see. It's going to be Igor and Nabil. Igor and Nabil. They'll have issues. I do not believe it. Nabil's made that move. Igor's down the order, risking losing a position to JJ. How the hell has that gone about? Peanuts is going to get an easy P3 right there. Absolutely incredible. What have I just seen there? The battle is done. JJ is going to send it to the inside of the Scari. Is he going to make that one work? It's not going to work. He pushes Igor off. Igor comes back on, and JJ's going to have a few questions raised of that one. That is going to be very concerning there for Igor. But has he lost fuel? Has he not got any fuel left? I don't know what's going on. He's going a bit too slowly. Pursoon is going to dominate the Italian Grand Prix. That's going to be Becken in P2. Absolutely incredible for these guys, and Peanuts makes it P3 in the end after a great recovery drive from the wets earlier on to the podium. Is an awesome job. Nabil, then JJ in P5. We've got Igor sitting in P6. Then we've got Charlie, who gets their way back up to P7. Gilly P8. Tom Brainer, Nifojan, Zingy and Korsman not scoring any points for the bottom two right there after their issue on the safety car restart. This, though, is the man of the day, and he's finally, after a couple of races, just about missing out, working so hard to go for a victory, does make it work. He does make it work. The Dutch Grand Prix was tough. Didn't race in the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, but he returns, and that return is on top. Well done indeed for Pursoon. Very well deserved. Alfa Romeo win at the home circuit. Let's see who driver of the day is after all those overtakes. I think it might be Peanuts. After all of that, it will be Gilly, actually. So GG to Gilly. Well done indeed. But this guy is still the one to watch, as he has won yet again in LSI. Well done, Pursoon. It's Pursoon who wins the Italian Grand Prix. Then we've got Becken, Peanuts, Nabil, JJ, Igor, Charlie, Gilly, Tom Brainer, Nifojan, Zingy, Tyrus Korsman and Robbo DNFing earlier on, with Tom Brainer getting the fastest lap on that soft tyre, of course. We go through all of the race director just in case, and then we will be back for the post-race interviews. We'll see you in a bit. Hello everyone and welcome to the post-race interviews of the Italian Grand Prix, as Monza always creates some crazy racing. We start with Nifo. Nifo, that was a bit of a tricky race. At the end, you had some battles to deal with I think, was it Tom Brainer at the end there? Can you take us through your race?
Yeah, I think the start went pretty okay. I think people crashed in front of me, so I gained a lot of places. But when you're out of the DRS train, you're just instantly fighting a losing battle. You'll never get back in it. So I was just doing my job, just try and keep with Robo as much as possible. I could overtake him, but he was obviously on the medium, so I wanted him to pull us ahead a bit and just save VRS. And then I lagged into Parabolica, and I got scared that I passed the 50, broke at the 100, and completely brake checked Gilly. It's just stupid of me. I shouldn't have done that, but it happened, and yeah, I'm so sorry. If he can report me all he wants, honestly, that's just stupid action of me once again. So yeah, that basically ruined his race. Luckily for him, he got a safety car 2 laps later. And then, from then on, I kept on getting 2 instant penalties for going off track and losing time. So, yeah, that doesn't matter now anyway. But it got quite under my skin. And then I lagged going through Parabolica in the middle of it, and then I spun because I couldn't catch it because I froze. My screen froze. So, yeah, that was just as bad as it could get, basically.
So a tough race. Hopefully, I guess you want to get those 3 seconds removed. Is that right?
I don't gain anything from it because I gave the place back to Gilly anyway.
Fair enough. Well, yeah, it was a difficult one, but what's done, it's done. It happens. Hopefully, the lag doesn't kick in for future races, because yes, that is incredibly annoying, and it's a part of sim racing which no one wants to experience. Moving on to the final race of the season, just a couple of quick words for that one. Brazil, is that a circuit you like?
I keep having bad luck there, so no. That will be very bad again.
Fair enough. Well, I'm going to say that you've won there in the past, so I'm sure it'll be absolutely fine. Thank you very much, Nifo, and we'll see you next time. And we move on to Zingy, the other AlphaTauri. That was a day to forget. Again, Monza doesn't treat you so well.
Yeah, no, the pace was actually exceptional in the first, and I wasn't pushing, but yeah, I was able to kind of maintain that gap of 5-6 cents of flaw. I'm guessing he wasn't pushing either, but obviously that safety car came out, and the thing is, you need to pit, otherwise you will be swallowed up like Charlie was. And I went for the move on Charlie, but Flaw was kind of off track when he tried to overtake me, which you don't really expect to happen on a racetrack, so I've kind of turned into him, not knowing that he'd be there, and we kind of just collided, but it's a racing incident. I think it's no one's really to blame, and it's just unfortunate how bad the damage was at the time. And I think if it didn't have damage, we could have maybe recovered to a good points position. But Person was far too quick for us today, and then he was just far too consistent to keep up with after that safety car. So it happens, but I'm not complaining too much.
Yep, fair enough. Well, he did do a very good job, and he's got that win today. But moving on to Brazil, the final race of the season, you've got both the constructors and the drivers wrapped up. Do you think you can try and end the season on a high?
I mean, Nifl would love to have a good result at Brazil. Obviously, it's one track that you just stay in the DRS whole race, and you try and plan it accordingly to what you see around you. But no, I think we'll do well there, and I'm sure it'll be a much better result than today, I hope.
Thank you very much, Singy, and well done today. Great racing before the safety car.
Thanks.
Thank you. And we move on to, I have forgotten who next. It will be Gilly. Next, Gilly obviously had a couple of issues in your race, which wasn't exactly ideal. Can you take us through your race?
Yes.
Cool.
Qualifying. What?
What happened?
Qualifying. I went out, set a lap, didn't gain any positions, and then I gained half a second on that lap and still didn't gain any positions, so that was great. And then Zingy, because he knew I was the only person who could beat him realistically, so he got his teammate to kill me.
Right.
And I went so fast into that wall. I don't know how I wasn't dead.
Well,
But
I mean, it's a
yeah,
Ferrari
other
at
than that,
Monza,
it's
so
alright.
you basically can't DNF, right?
Isn't it the other way around?
Oh, I don't
More
know.
cursed.
I'm not sure. It depends if you get to parabolic or not on the wrong angle. Yeah, that was a tough race and a shame for those issues. Strategy-wise, that hard tire at the end, did it not work as well as you thought?
I think it was the only tyre I could have gone on. They were on like 58%, I think.
Right.
And I was pushing it with the rear because my rear wing was 1, so it was a bit low. So I was locking the rear quite a bit, but I think it's the best I could have done strategy-wise. I could have done without hitting walls and cutting corners accidentally. But yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, that helps, of course, definitely. But moving on to the final one of the season, Brazil, is that a circuit that you like maybe more than Monza?
Yeah, definitely. I prefer higher downforce at the moment. And Monza's just horrible to race on.
I'd never would have heard, thought I would have heard that from Gilly, but yeah, well done. High downforce merchant, thank you very much, Gilly, and hopefully it goes well for you in the final race of the season, better than this race. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we move on to Tom Brainer. Tom, that was a difficult strategy, but do you think it was good to know for tomorrow?
At the moment of the safety car, I thought the strategy would be the right call because I expected the tire wear to be worse than it was in the end. At the time the safety car came out, it was like 20 laps, and I didn't expect that the mediums would last as long. I thought 17 laps could be okay, but after that, the chance of puncture or really slow lap times were too great, so I could catch up a bit with the two softs. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, so I learned I should have gone for the hard tire, which I got left. Really unfortunate, lost the podium at that point, but I would still say it was a right call.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, looking for tomorrow, will that work well for you? Do you think you can do well?
I think it's likely that I can be pretty good tomorrow. I showed really good pace today. Kept up with the likes of Zingy and Thales Korsman in the first stint. So I would say the pace is there. Just have to be a bit more lucky with the strategy, and especially possible safety cars. And the most important thing probably will be avoiding time penalties. Like the time penalty I got today was just really dumb mistakes on the outlap of my last stint. If I can avoid these mistakes, it's really likely that I can get a good position.
Awesome. I hope it goes well tomorrow. Brazil, it's a very different circuit. Do you like it though?
Yeah, Brazil is a really great circuit. Makes it's a lot fun when driving. Especially the middle sector, because it's technically really hard, but it's just a nice feeling if you get it right. And I think I proved it last season, at least for a few laps, that I can be good, and I hope I can carry on next weekend for that.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Well said, and we'll see you next time. Well done, Tom. And we move on to Becken. Becken, pretty solid result, I would say. After, of course, the safety car utilised that very, very well. P2.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'd say I'm happy, but at the start of the race, I got wing damage because Monza brake checks, all that stuff. But it happens. Luckily, the safety car came out, saved my race. But I'm not sure, but it seemed like I had more pace than Pursoon, at least towards the end, because I went from about 6 seconds behind them to about 2.52. So I think if I never battle with Tom, who knows what could have happened? Maybe a battle for the win. Doubt it, but I'm happy. I'm happy with P2.
Do you think you maybe needed to be a bit more aggressive in overtaking Charlie?
Yes, but I don't think even if I got Charlie straight away. I mean, I didn't even know he was on all tires at first. I
Right.
thought he had. I thought he was in the collision with Singy and had like slight wing damage, and I knew from earlier how wing damage was that you would get used to it and your pace would pick up quite quickly. But obviously, he was on all tires, so. But I don't think I lost too much time to him, to be honest. I think I only lost about 1.5 seconds to Pursuit because of Charlie.
Right.
Of course, I dropped all the DRS, but it's ifs. You can't say if I could have won or could have, yeah.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Well, knowing all the tyre data for, of course, that medium tyre going into tomorrow, do you think you have a good chance of getting a win?
Honestly, I thought I would be atrocious here. It seemed like the pace was decent. So you never know. Devon wasn't here today. I think if Devon was here, he would probably be like next to me, if not with Pursuit, because I think he's quick. But you never know. You never know. My pace could be atrocious tomorrow. I could be not even in the top 5.
Or it could be raining. It could be raining.
If it's raining, I think I'm fucked, to be honest. But let's pray for rain gods on that.
Yeah,
but
we sure will. We sure will. Next week, Brazil, is that a circuit that you like over Monza?
I want to say yes, because I feel like I'm quicker there, but I felt like I was dog shit here, but I did decently. So, I mean, historically I've been decent there. Obviously, I hope I'll do well, but honestly, you never know. I have higher hopes for Brazil than I did for Monza.
Fair enough.
We'll see.
I'm sure it'll be absolutely fine, and I'm sure. Well, maybe we can get you a win. You won in Brazil last season, I think, in F1.
Oh yeah.
You did.
In
So
F1, yes.
try and keep that up. Thank you very much, Beckin, and really well done today.
Thank you.
And we move on to Peanuts. Peanuts. That was a hell of a race. Lots of battling with your teammate and the McLaren, of course, but you came out on top. Were you confident with your tyres that you'd have the advantage at the end?
I mean, tires felt quite bad throughout the whole stint. I tried my best to make a bad scenario a good one. I felt like on paper going from like P9 to P3 without needing like a safety car sounds impressive and all, but actually, I didn't do shit. I mean, I just survived. That's all I did. I didn't make it exciting for myself. I just waited for people to fuck up in front of me, and I capitalized on it, which moved me forward. P3, good result. I felt like the last 5 laps, I kind of knew that I was gonna get a P3 because I felt like I could, obtain it quite easily. People around me were actually quicker than what I thought they were once I got in front, but it's like this track is so annoying because it's like you can only overtake down the same fucking straight, and it's just it's annoying having to do the same overtake every time. It's kind of boring in a sense. So that probably took away a little bit from the fun from my side. I mean, not that exciting race. Even though it looks exciting, it was not exciting.
Yeah, well, it's a difficult one, but well done today. That was a very good result and a very good drive, especially at the end there. So, yeah, very well deserved. Next time, Brazil. Do you think you can do well there?
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I feel more confident in Brazil than here. I mean, this track, like, if you make one mistake on the wrong place, you could be totally screwed. And there's a lot of corners which you could make a huge mistake. So, I mean, I'm happy with P3. I generally thought I went beyond the podium here.
Fair enough. Well done today. Very well deserved. And I hope it goes well tomorrow. Thank you very much, Peanuts.
I'm going to need it.
I'm sure you will. Thank you. And that's been it for the post-race interviews. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure. We will see you tomorrow for the Italian Grand Prix for the F1.5 EU Championship, and we will see you next weekend for the Brazilian Grand Prix, the finale of Season 12 of LSI F1 World Championship and Season 10 of the LSI F1.5 EU Championship. It's been a pleasure, and we will see you next time.